Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang. Welcome to this broadcast. The subject is on glyphosate and health, and I'd like to explain a little bit about what glyphosate is, and hopefully you know what health is, because hopefully you experience health on a regular basis. But glyphosate is a chemical that has been used as an herbicide for several decades now. It was used a lot in backyard gardeners' settings for most of the 80s. And in the 90s, the food industry invented a technology that's called genetically modified organisms, or GMO foods. And the genetic modification was that you could dump glyphosate on the growing plant and it wouldn't kill it. Now, normally glyphosate kills any growing plant if you put significant amounts on it. Doesn't matter whether it's a weed or a plant that you really want. Normally it kills plants really, really well. But what they did is stick a gene into these food sources that caused the plant, as it grows, to be resistant to glyphosate killing it. Now, I won't go into all the science of how that happened, just to say that they did do it. And they did it for significant parts of our food supply, including almost all the soy in the United States and almost all of the corn. Now, you can get some corn that isn't genetically modified, but the vast majority of the corn that you're going to buy anywhere in our country is genetically modified. Now, in addition, glyphosate is dumped on a lot of the wheat in the United States. And unfortunately, you can't tell which wheat it was dumped on and which wheat it wasn't dumped on. Now, wheat is not genetically modified. And I might say that genetically modified stuff has its own separate problems that are not good for us, besides the fact that it's got glyphosate on it. So the reason that I'm sharing this with you is that I had an encounter today with a patient who is in the healthcare field in a fairly prominent place, touches on a lot of different patient encounters, who was having some health problems that are related to this, glyphosate. And so I started talking to her about that, and I wanted her to understand that there's a big connection between gut health and stress, and there's obviously a big connection between stress and health. So what's the connection between these things? Well, you can't have gut health if you're getting much glyphosate in there, because glyphosate damages the gut in a lot of different ways. And the damage happens in a few different ways. I'm just going to touch on three of them. The first thing is that glyphosate is an effective antibiotic. It kills the good bacteria in our GI tract, and it leaves behind some of the bacteria that are less desirable. The second thing that glyphosate does is that it damages the ability of the bacteria to communicate with each other. And that communication is critical for our GI tract talking to our brains, which is really important in terms of this issue. If our GI tract doesn't talk to our brains well, we are in a state of stress, whether we feel stressed or not. The third thing that glyphosate does that I want to touch on here is that it damages the connection between the cells in our GI tract. That means that where the cells come together, they don't stick together like they're supposed to. And that makes it possible for things to leak through that aren't supposed to get through. And that's really bad for us in ways that I detailed in a lot more detail in other places. But the point being, glyphosate does all of these things and some other things that are really bad for us. So the idea is that if you want to be healthy, then you've got to limit glyphosate. And by limiting glyphosate, it's a big, big first step in moving forward into good health. Now, if you want more resources on how to limit glyphosate, then click on the link below this video or beside this video, and you'll have access to a free report on how to limit glyphosate which will be a critical step for you if your goal is to have good health. So unfortunately, many people are not aware of how bad of a problem this is. It's actually a growing problem. The government still considers glyphosate safe for us in spite of all of the things I just told you about and other things that I didn't. But there's a growing awareness, on the other hand, of how many bad things it does do to us. And so there's a lot of pushback now from people that are in the know. And I hope that this helps you to get more in the know. So please make the decision to try to limit glyphosate in your diet and take advantage of the free report below this video or beside the video or embedded in the video. And if for some reason you're seeing this video before that free report is attached, I encourage you to bookmark the video, come back to it in the next day or two, and the report should be there. And of course, I encourage you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I wish you well, God bless, and have a great day.